A very good evening all. I'm Dalai Lama with the Tuesday night edition of South Asian News. Welcome to Vision of Asia, Voice of Our Community. We are coming to you from our studio in New York City. Here is what's happening tonight in the coronavirus pandemic. Worldwide, we are looking at now 16.5 million cases of the novel virus with at least 655,000 deaths. In the United States, today topped 4.3 million cases of coronavirus with more than 148,000 deaths. Health officials are urging states to implement stricter measures while states across the nation show surge in case numbers. Eyes are still on hotspots such as Florida, Texas, Arizona, and California. Across the country, 27 states have paused or rolled back their reopening with new imposed restrictions. More than 40 states have a mask requirement when in public. Prompted by the worsening of the cases in U.S. southern states, the Republican National Convention has been cancelled in Jacksonville, Florida, and the Major League Baseball has postponed some of its games after a number of Miami Marlins members tested positive for the virus. This rise in U.S. deaths and infections has dampened early hopes that the country was past the worst of the economic fallout, which has put millions out of work. The U.S. Congress today was locked in difficult talks over another coronavirus aid package to help American families and businesses recover from the crisis. Here in New York has added 31 states on a watch list, which requires travelers from hotspot states to quarantine for 14 days, along with New Jersey, which also has a similar list of states to quarantine. On vaccine for coronavirus, phase 3 clinical trial of the coronavirus vaccine in the U.S. has started. The trial is expected to enroll about 30,000 adult volunteers. Today, nation's leading health expert official and expert on infectious disease, Dr. Anthony Fauci, said that he's cautiously optimistic that there will be an answer on whether the vaccine will work in late fall or early winter. On the surging cases, Dr. Fauci said that the surges can be prevented in southern states if guidelines are followed carefully, which includes mask wearing, social distancing, avoiding crowd, and practicing health hygiene. If you are in states with surging cases, please take care and protect yourself with these guidelines. If you are on the front line in some of these hotspot states, please write to us on events@itvgold.com with your experience, your story to reach us. With that, the episode tonight explores more on the impact and advice on managing the COVID-19 crisis, along with our exclusive featuring renowned His Holiness Dalai Lama. Here are the headlines. Yash Dongre addresses fashion industry amid coronavirus pandemic. House of Anita Dongre in India. GAPIO presents virtual session featuring His Holiness Dalai Lama, Compassion in Medical Practice. New York Indian Film Festival 2020 virtual edition featuring Kastoori, the Musk. A lot more on the other side of the break. Stay with us on Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm Dalai Lama and this is Vision of Asia Tuesday night episode. Starting the show tonight, we are looking at the coronavirus pandemic's impact in a spectrum of industries. The fashion industry is one of the hardest hit from the economic ramifications of COVID-19, with millions of jobs across the world on a hold as countries pick up from lockdowns and reopening. We are looking at major impact on fashion brands, from closing of manufacturing plants, store closures, and event cancellations, as brands and labels all across try to figure out a way with new opportunities through the digital space. Speaking to us about the current ongoings in the fashion industry of India and the US, Yash Dongre, the business head of House of Anita Dongre, joined us for a virtual conversation. One of the most popular Indian fashion brands, House of Anita Dongre, is known for its philosophy of embracing Indian heritage and craftsmanship in fashion, honoring the artisans of India. Yash Dongre spoke to us on the transformation in the programs of House of Anita and its work in empowering communities during COVID-19. Lots of insight here on fashion during COVID-19 and the focus on a digital platform. Here is Yash Dongre. I'm so excited to have you on the show today because we've been wanting to talk about the fashion industry and what is going on with it, the impact of COVID-19 on it, because from what we have researched, the impact is quite major and is kind of transformative. So just starting this interview with you, what kind of transformation did you have to bring to your existing programs and the functioning of the company when COVID-19 started?
So, COVID-19 is obviously been a huge event in all our lives, and the business impact has been enormous. I think it's the first time in our lifetime we've seen such an event take place, which has had such a grave impact both on your personal life and professional. In our company and in our industry, which has been one of the worst hit in this whole pandemic, for us it's all about consolidation. It's about controlling our costs and just surviving the next 6 to 12 months until we come out of this and consumption goes back to somewhat at some normal levels to what it was pre-COVID. So I think for us it's all about consolidating cost control and focusing our entire time and energy on the online and digital space.
Yes, for sure. What is your take on the direct impact COVID-19 has had on manufacturing? India is home to the largest manufacturers, in the world, and fashion industry depends massively on it. How difficult is it to produce right now in India?
It's definitely been challenging because a lot of the factories are in the metro cities, and a lot of the workers have moved back to the villages when the outbreak first hit. It was just a mentality. It was a fear mentality, and everyone wanted to go back to their hometowns, back to their villages, to be with their families. So we had a huge exodus of people leaving the cities and moving back home. And I'm sure you guys must have seen that coverage on news. How there was massive migration happening back to villages, and a lot of that workforce obviously hasn't yet returned. So factories are operating on barely 10 to 20% of their capacity. And so yes, it's definitely been challenging. And also companies have also cut down production levels, right? So companies aren't producing anywhere close to what they were pre-COVID. So of course the demand has also decreased. At the same time, factory capacity is also severely decreased.
Yes.
So manufacturing definitely has become a challenge.
What has been your strategy, since you're the business head of the company, in tackling this economic downfall? Because you're still working, the company is still functioning, especially on the digital space. What has your experience been in tackling this economic issue?
So like I said, our energies have been towards pushing the online business, and we are seeing positive and optimistic results coming from there. There has been a surge in demand for online purchases. Since we are in the wedding business as well, in the bridal business, we are seeing the demand come back for bridal wear. We are seeing a lot of couples going ahead with their weddings. And of course, the scale of the weddings are reducing. People are doing a lot smaller events. In the US, especially, this whole concept of backyard weddings is on the rise, where people are doing smaller ceremonies at home with family and friends. But the demand for clothes is still there because whether you get married at home, whether you get married in a hotel, whether you get married on the beach, you still want to look your best and you want to wear that special outfit. So we are seeing a steady demand for bridal clothing, especially in the US.
Let's now take a look at the ongoing New York Indian Film Festival Virtual Edition 2020 taking place July 24th till August 2nd. This is the 20th annual New York Indian Film Festival, the oldest film event in North America that prides itself in presenting thought-provoking and engaging Indian cinema from different regions of India. This year, the Virtual Film Festival brings together a mixture of films and conversations with leading Indian celebrities along with cast and crew of the movies. Tonight we have highlights from a conversation on festival's movie Kastoori, the Musk, directed by Vinod Kamble. The film celebrates a journey from material world to discovering one's inner self. The film is based on real events featuring a 14-year-old boy who has to engage in manual scavenging and postpartum along with his struggles in education.
Hello, everyone. My name is Asim Chabra. I'm the festival director of the New York Indian Film Festival. Welcome to KNIFE 2020 virtual edition powered by Movie Saints. Today, we'll have a conversation on the film Kastoori, Musk. My colleague Satish Kalluri, who is a professor of cinema studies at Pace University and is on the programming committee of the New York Indian Film Festival, will be moderating the questions. And we have the director, Vinod Kamble of Kastoori, who will respond to the questions. Can we bring in Satish and Vinod ji?
मैं आपकी फिल्म से बहुत impressed हुआ. I thought it was a very, very important film. And so I have some questions for you. Please take your time. So before we get into the film, I wanted to find out what got you into filmmaking. You are a civil engineer. आप civil engineering से आप filmmaker बने. तो आप थोड़ा सा बोल सकते हैं वो जर्नी के बारे में आप?
यस मैंने 2013 में सिविल इंजीनियरिंग कंप्लीट की. उसके बाद मैंने इंडिया में यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहा था. तो उस दौरान मैंने बहुत सारी किताबें पढ़ी. फिल्में तो मैं बचपन से ही देखता था. मुझे फिल्में देखना, उनके बारे में बात करना बहुत अच्छा लगता था. तो मेरा इंटरेस्ट पहले से था फिल्म मेकिंग में. मुझे इसी फील्ड में कुछ करना था, लेकिन ऐसे कुछ डिसाइड नहीं किया था कि डायरेक्टर बनना है या राइटर बनना है. लेकिन इस फील्ड में मुझे कुछ करना था. तो मैंने यूपीएससी कर रहा था. तो मुझे लगा कि कब तक मैं खुद को झूठ बोलूँगा कि मुझे ये करना है ये या नहीं करना है. तो मैंने डिसाइड किया और मेरे टाउन में मैं वापस आया, मेरे सोलापुर सिटी में. वहाँ पे मैंने एक ड्रामा कंपनी ज्वाइन की जो 1 एक्ट प्ले और ड्रामा करते थे. तो उनको मैंने ज्वाइन किया. तो उनको मैं बैक स्टेज करता था, प्रॉपर्टी लाना, रखना. वो बैक स्टेज करते करते मैं उनसे सीखता गया जो फिल्म मेकिंग का सेंस है या ड्रामा का सेंस है. तो इस तरह मेरी जर्नी वहाँ से स्टार्ट हुई एज ए फिल्म मेकर, एज ए राइटर डायरेक्टर. बाद में मैंने लेट डिसाइड किया कि मैं डायरेक्टर बनूंगा. इस जर्नी के दौरान उस दौरान मैंने बहुत सारे ऐसी फिल्में देखी, जैसे पत्र पंचली है सत्यजीत रे सर की, या आक्रोश है, मंडी है. तो इन सारी फिल्मों से मुझे बहुत ही प्रेरणा मिलती थी. तो मुझे लगता था कि जब भी मैं फिल्म बनाऊंगा तो इस किस्म की फिल्में होगी जो रियलिटी को टच करेगी. जो मेरे आसपास होता है उनको मुझे बाहर लाना है. मेरे साथ जो भी हुआ है, अच्छा है बुरा है, जो सोसाइटी ने मुझे दिया है, उसे मैं पर्दे पे लाना चाहता था. तो मुझे एक ये जरिया लगा फिल्म मेकिंग या फिल्म, जिसे मैं अपने खुद को एक्सप्रेस कर सकूं के माध्यम से. तो मुझे लगता है कि फाइनली मैंने वो पाथ ढूंढ लिया जिससे मैं खुद को एक्सप्रेस कर सकूं, वो थी फिल्म मेकिंग. सो मुझे लगता है कि ये कहीं से डिसाइड भी था, अनकॉन्शियसली माइंड में कहीं था कि मुझे इस फिल्म में कुछ करना है, या अनडिसाइडेड भी था अगर आप देखें तो. इस तरह मेरी वो जर्नी कंप्लीट हुई.
सचिन, बख्शिश लेने के लिए सबके सामने जाना पड़ेगा ना?
कितनी बार बोल रहे गोपी? वहां सब होंगे, सब तेरे लिए तालियां बजेंगे. देखना तू.
I wanted to know the inspiration of how you basically came about writing the script for Kastoori. What was the personal motivation? What was the personal inspiration? Was there a personal angle to it? So can you tell me about the writing of the story itself? I'm not about the treatment. The visual treatment is different, but just the story.
यस सर, उसमें दो चीज़ें हैं। उसे पहले चीज़ है कि जो मैंने कस्तूरी में कहानी बताई वो मेरी पर्सनल लाइफ से इंस्पायर है, क्योंकि मेरे पिताजी मेरे लोकल म्यूनसिपालिटी में अभी स्वीपर है, एज ए स्वीपर जाते हैं काम पे, गटर साफ करते हैं। तो बचपन में मैंने फिफ्थ स्टैंडर्ड से मेरे दादी को असिस्ट किया है ऐसा काम करने में, कचरा उठाने में, कचरा डालने में। तो उनको होता होता नहीं था, तो मैंने उनको असिस्ट करते समय जो भी एक्सपीरियंस किया उसको मैं मेरे पहले फिल्म में लाना चाहता था। तो मेरा एक बेसिक ये था कि मुझे अपनी कहानी बतानी है, जो मैंने जी है कहीं ना कहीं मेरे अंदर है। और दूसरा थॉट ये था कि मैंने कबीर का एक दोहा सुना था जिसमें हिरन के पेट में कस्तूरी होती है, कि वो ढूंढता है सारे जंगल में लेकिन उसको नहीं मिलती, आखिर वो मर जाता है। तो मुझे लगा कि अगर उसके अंदर उसकी कस्तूरी है, उसको पता नहीं है, वैसे ही एक बच्चा है जो सोशली बहुत ही नीचे स्तर में रहता है, उसको भी उसके भी अंदर एक कस्तूरी है, उसको पता नहीं है। तो उसको कैसे जताया जाए या किसको उसको कैसे हाईलाइट किया जाए उस कस्तूरी को, जैसे हमने एजुकेशन को फ्रंट लाया है उसमें। तो ये दोनों चीजों को मैंने कंबाइन किया, तो गंदगी और कस्तूरी, इन दोनों चीजों को मैंने एक करके एक स्क्रिप्ट लिखी। वो थर्ड पॉसिबिलिटी थी। मुझे लगा इन दोनों को इकट्ठा करके लोगों को वो जो सेंसिबिलिटी है, आपने बोला स्मेल की, जो दिमाग में है उनके कई सालों से है, कि एक प्रकार के जाति के लोगों को देख के सामने आते हैं या आप एक्सप्रेस होते हो उनको देख के। तो मैंने उस स्मेल को पकड़ा और उसको हाईलाइट करने की कोशिश की, इंडिकेट करने की कोशिश की। तो ये दोनों चीजें थी जिसको मैंने एक करके फिल्म बनाने की सोचा और मैंने लिखा, और मेरे प्रोड्यूसर को पसंद आया मेरा पहला काम और स्क्रिप्ट। तो इस तरह वो स्क्रिप्ट बन गई।
It's time for a short break on Vision of Asia, Voice of the Community. We'll be right back. And welcome back. This is Vision of Asia, the South Asian news segment, and I am Aditi Lamba. Now we have another successful event produced by GAPIO, Global Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, featuring renowned spiritual leader Dalai Lama. Coming from his residence in Dharamshala, India, His Holiness Dalai Lama addressed a talk on compassion in medical practice, which featured several Indian medical professionals from all across joining the virtual event. The discourse reflected on managing stresses of the current pandemic with its mental and physical implications. His Holiness Dalai Lama said that cultivating peace of mind should be a part of our approach to health. Doctors and nurses needed too. Here are highlights from the event, which was another edition of GAPIO's ongoing Global Indian Physicians COVID-19 Collaborative.
Indeed, I feel great honor, you see, discussing with scholars. So this kind of discussion, I also learn much thing. So.
Thank you. The last question, the final question, is from Dr. Sudhir Parekh, an expert in asthma and allergy from the US. Dr. Sudhir Parekh is the Secretary General of GAPIO. Dr. Sudhir.
Namaste, His Holiness. Warm regards from the New York City and USA. His Holiness, can you guide us? What is the role of religion in a world affected by an unprecedented crisis like the COVID pandemic? Please guide us.
I feel, as I already mentioned, all religion, you see, their main message is loving kindness, altruism, and with that, forgiveness, tolerance, self-discipline. So these, whether you believe the complicated philosophy, religious philosophy or not, the real essence of religious teaching, loving kindness. And that, firstly, as I already sort of mentioned, we already discussed the mental peace brings physical sort of health, or as I already mentioned. Now then, as a human nature, when we face some desperate situation, then religion provides us some sort of basis of our hope. Oh God, oh God, oh God. When you completely fail through your own effort, then still believe God, oh God, like that. So God, some mysterious sort of thing that provides many people. You see, when they really facing situation of totally hopeless, then still God, 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 like that. The most important, you see, to use the God's message or Buddha's message, loving kindness. And then the Nalanda tradition, Indian tradition, now scientists also paying more attention about anything exist with interdependency. No absolute sort of truth.
Existence. Absolute.
Absolute existence. Any existence due to other factor. So that's the perhaps I think unique Buddhist concept. The Sanskrit word patit samubandha. Everything interdependent, interconnected. So now modern science also, you see, everything. You see, very nature of existence is many factor, like quantum physics now appears something independently exist. The reality, everything, you see, depend on their particle. So now quantum physics, they say, nothing exists as appears. If we investigate, finally, the observer, so long observer there, then things there. When observer no longer there, then difficult to say whether this exists or not. So there's exactly one ancient Nalanda tradition, mind-only school of thought, quite similar. Independent external thing, not there. All dependent sort of concept, like that. So therefore, the quantum physics say there is big differences, appearance and a deeper reality. Now, deeper reality, everything, every sort of existence, interdependent, not absolute. So therefore, you see that philosophy or that view very helpful, you see, to reduce our emotion, destructive emotion. Destructive emotion very much based on appearances. When your appearance objectively exists, then good thing objectively exists, bad thing objectively sort of exists. So the grasping, grasping, this is good, this is bad, more or less sort of independent, since things appears something independently. For that, once even concept also the quantum physics, even quantum physics, you see, there is nothing independent as appears. So some student who study quantum physics, as far as I know, in China, some university is a student who study quantum physics. You see, they eventually they feel nothing independently exists there. So that reduce the grasping all destructive emotion based on that. There's Acharya Nagarjuna clearly mentioned that. All destructive emotion is very much based on the concept or belief things exist objectively.
And that is all for tonight's episode. Remember to send us your suggestions and get your voices and organizations on our show. Email us on events@itvgold.com or follow us on Facebook @itvgold. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch many of our popular shows for free. Thank you for joining us tonight from Queens, New York. This is Vision of Asia, and I am Dalai Lama. Take care and be well.